Welcome to the Bike Talk with Dave podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Dave Mabel, and today I'm introducing you to a young mountain bike professional, Cullen Perkey, whom I met at the Chequamegon mountain bike race. Kinda met him there. More like on the way home from Chequamegon. Regardless, Cullen raced in the elite race and has some great stories from the day. But you know, seeing him with all his stuff piled into his car, he's making a long drive back to Denver all alone, him, his bike, his gear, after racing with some of the best cyclists in the world. I was curious how a young, aspiring racer makes it all work, financially speaking. So we connected recently and I got to know this fun young mountain biker on his way to the top, he hopes. I have faith in him. He's a good dude. Anyway, without further ado, Cullen Perkey. Cullen Perkey, welcome to Bike Talk with Dave. It's fun to have you on, and I say fun because of how we met, but nonetheless, welcome to Bike Talk with Dave. I'm glad to see you now and have you on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, Dave. I gotta say, I was looking for a snack bar. It was not the place I expected to get my first official podcast invite, but you know what? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was super forward. I'm typically not that forward, but as I was walking in at the gas station, I think in Spooner, Wisconsin, I'm going into, I guess I was running to the bathroom because I'd already filled up, and I saw your bike in the back of your car, and it had the Elite card on the front, not the big old one. And I was like, there's a dude in here that raced in the Elites, and I saw you, and I was like, hey, who are you? And you're like,
dude, I thought I was in trouble. I thought I was in trouble so bad. Like, just my luck. I parked somewhere. This is the manager at the gas station. I'm about to freaking hear it. And then he's like, no, I run a podcast. I was like, oh, sick.
Super funny way to meet. But I'm glad we did. I'm glad I said something. You're super nice, and I'm excited to get to know you a little better.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. It's a pleasure.
So I introduced you a little bit in the intro to the pod, but you race U23 mountain biking, and I know you do a little gravel. I know you ride a little road, but I don't know a ton about you. Colorado boy, racing in Wisconsin. So I'd like to get to know you a little bit. I'm super curious about your program. You drove a long way from the Denver area to get to northern Wisconsin for one quote-unquote 40-mile race. And I'm super curious about your program. I know you're racing at the UCI level, and I'm guessing you want to build a career out of that. So I want to talk about that as well. And then, of course, I don't know, you're going to laugh. I don't think I've told you this, but I've been doing Chequamegon since 1999, when you probably weren't even thought of by your parents.
Not even sort of.
You weren't even an idea at that point. So I love Chequamegon, and I'd love to hear your story at the front and talk a little bit about racing in the North Woods. Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, sweet. So I know you're racing at the UCI mountain bike level. What led you there? You race at the U23, and for those who don't know, that's under 23. I guess my first question is, what does under 23 mean specifically?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there's a bit of gray area. I think in domestic mountain bike Olympic format racing, U23 is a very specific age range. It is racing age U23 or under. So racing age is your age by end of year or world champs, depending on which comes first. So cyclocross, for example, your racing age might be different for cyclocross than it is for mountain bike. But since mountain bike...
It is.
Yeah, since mountain bike...
It is horrible.
Yeah.
It is horrible, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, my birthday is in December.
So you and me both. I'm November, so I'm right there, right?
It's like 2 years older.
Yeah,
Like they make
exactly.
me 2 years older.
Right.
I don't know
So
about.
I'm 21, right? This is my last
Yep.
year of U23. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah, and
Um,
you'll only be 22 next year.
right, exactly. And racing it, yeah, racing age is 23. And well, because it's 23 or less, like caps at
Yeah.
23.
Yep.
So, yeah. So that's the UCI distinction, anyways. In the eyes of the all-knowing, all-powerful race promoter UCI.
The UCI that will tell us how tall our socks can
Right,
be,
exactly, and how wide my tires should be, and however many other
and
things, how wide my handlebars
handlebars,
can
and
be.
the
Yeah, they
important things
really
on this
wouldn't
earth.
like my gravel bike. Let's just say that.
Well, I know you got a little carpal tunnel or something from riding those hoods
Yeah, fortunately resolved
aerodynamically, and
now,
they
but
must not
yeah,
like that.
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously there's a bit more gray area in the non UCI stuff like domestic racing, especially in gravel. I think it's sort of some people enforce it, and then there are some other more local races that'll be like, you're 23, like I should look into it. I don't know the lifetime Grand Prix rules around U23 category. So depending on what they say, I might have another year. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, huh, that is interesting because they might not follow the same rule. They make
Yeah,
their
I
own
mean they're
rules. Like
definitely not
Chequamegon,
UCI affiliated, and because their last
right?
race is in October, there's a very good chance that they're basing it off the end of their season.
Yeah,
And if it
yep,
is
yep.
that, then I've got I will absolutely be going in and doing the whole lifetime U23 series next year. But it's my research to do. I'll keep you updated, I suppose.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Well, this year you're not doing a lifetime series. You are really focusing on mountain bike. What What do you love about mountain biking? What got you into mountain biking?
Well, so mountain biking is sort of a long story.
We have time. This is a podcast.
Perfect. So I played soccer at a fairly high level, at a state level in middle school and in high school. And so I was really late to cycling. I mean, you hear these guys now, you talk about like Riley Amos and Bjorn and all those dudes that are crushing it first year elite. And I mean, they're not much older than I am. They're 23-ish, 22-ish. Um, and I mean, they've been racing since they could walk. I didn't start racing
Right.
until my freshman year of high school.
Huh.
So crazy to say that that's late to the sport, but I think that's kind of what it's come to. But I was watching the 2016 Olympics for soccer. I was watching the USA match, and it ended, and it was bookended by BMX racing. I had no idea what BMX racing was, but it pretty much blew my mind.
Huh.
I sort of always had that like go fast thing in the back of my head somewhere. I was always riding my bike around the street really quick, or I was there's some story in there somewhere about little me getting put on a snowmobile and I didn't quite understand the concept of ease into it. Let's just say that. But
Alone?
yeah, no, with a adult. But they were like,
Okay.
"Oh, you can drive, just go easy." And I'm pretty sure the thing went, and
Nice.
almost put it up a tree at age 9 or whatever. Uh, but
Okay. Well, that correlates to mountain biking. I
very
get
much
it.
so, right? Avoiding trees.
Yep.
Uh, no, but yeah, I saw BMX racing on TV, and I was hooked. I was like, oh, that's the sickest thing ever. And of course, my mother, occupational therapist, very aware of closed head injuries, took one look at BMX racing and went, no.
Right.
Didn't say that to my face, but definitely was not one that was gonna be. I think if it was in her power, I probably would never have raced BMX at all, and I didn't. But what the conversation wound up coming to was my stepdad, who is like sort of similar to you. He doesn't ride as much anymore, but like back in the day, OG mountain bike kind of guy. Was like, well, hey, I was like saving up my money to get a BMX race bike at the time, and all that stuff. And he goes, hey, what if you instead of saving up for a BMX bike, saved up for like a hardtail mountain bike, and you could just go race cruiser class at the track, and then you'll have a bike that's more versatile, and I'll have gears. And I was like, Yeah, but that's not really cool, is it? At the time. Of course, wore down on me, and eventually I warmed up to the idea and wound up saving up some pennies, mowing a lot of lawns, and I got a specialized rock hopper sport, black and red.
Sweet.
And it's pretty safe to say I never touched a BMX track. I pretty
Oh,
quick.
you never did?
No,
You never did cruiser class?
no, I pretty quickly, because we had, like I was saying before, we were chatting before the recording started. Where I grew up, Ann Arbor, Michigan, there are some pretty incredible, expansive hand-cut trails that go all around the perimeter of the city. And I happened to be in this place that had trails. I mean, I was probably a 3.5 minute bike ride from my front door.
Wow.
And of course, like living in Denver now, I'm like, do you know how lucky you had it, man? Like, come on.
For sure.
At the time, I didn't
For
know.
sure.
But
You thought every place had
oh
trails
yeah,
like that
just
back
and that they
before.
were all perfect dirt and tree covered and had a great stewardship program that really like took care of everything and just now I have to drive an hour and a half if I want to freaking ride a good trail. But anyways, also happened to have a friend at the time that was also getting into mountain bikes in a pretty big way, and we connected and started riding some trails, and I got hooked. It was just the sickest thing ever, and I was having such a good time spending time out in the woods, and yeah, never went to a BMX track after that. I just
Yeah. Huh.
totally.
What happened to soccer?
So I was, let's see, kind of crosses paths with my cycling journey actually. So all this like discovery of mountain biking is happening like end of middle school.
Oh,
Had an eighth grade project that was open source or open topic, and I could pick whatever I wanted. Of course, I picked mountain bikes, right? And there's an aspect of it which was a community service. And for my community service, I had met with some of the local mountain bike chapter at a meeting, and was trying to get some wheels rolling on a mountain bike team for our local NICA league.
cool.
And Michigan isn't affiliated with NICA, but they have MISCA, which is Michigan Scholastic Cycling Association. Same thing.
Sweet. Yep.
And was trying to figure out how to get a team started because I was just learning about racing and was really into riding my bike on the trails. And I was like, oh, well, I want to be a part of this. But there was nothing in Ann Arbor. For whatever reason, there wasn't a team. And so that was my community service project, was trying to start that team in Ann Arbor. So get the team started over the summer, coming into my freshman year of high school, racing that fall. I was also starting goalkeeper for the high school that I was at. And about 2 weeks before state champs, for mountain biking for MISCA, we were also playing as quarterfinals to get us into states. And for those of you that are familiar with how a soccer pitch is set up, it's there's the 18-yard line, this and then there's another one, and then there's the goal. And the goalkeeper can use their hands anywhere inside the 18-yard box. A forward had made a break. Forward is like one of the attacking foot soccer players. Took a big touch, had broken away, and had taken a really big touch on the ball, and it rolled way out ahead of him, well into the 18. I had a bunch of time. Generally, what you do in that situation is you slide in, side on the ground, elbow down, arm down, and you just make yourself a wall, and then you wrap up the ball, and that ends the play. Dude didn't like that I got to the ball and just wound up and kicked me in the head as hard as he could.
Oh.
I was out for about a minute and a half, and then I was on concussion protocol for about 3 weeks after that, and I missed state champs. I couldn't race because I got kicked in the head. And after that, that was the moment where I was sitting in bed, I couldn't be on my phone. I'm getting updates from like someone, like I got a phone call from someone at some point, and they were giving me updates about the last race of the season, and then I got to be at state champs, but I couldn't ride, and I was just like standing there watching all my teammates race, and I was just like, all right, I'm not playing soccer anymore. This is stupid.
Yeah, wow. How
and-
ironic. Your mom didn't want you to do BMX.
Right, I wound up getting kicked in the head anyways, right?
Right.
Yeah, but after that I was pretty much done with soccer, and I was full in on bikes, and raced in the high school divisions for a little bit, and then at some point somebody was like, "Hey, you're doing really well. You should go to this race called Englewood." Looked up UCI racing, and the rest is history from there. That's properly gets me into my sort of continental series racing career. And it's actually really funny. I came in a Cat 3, and the guy at the UCI tent went, "Well, all the guys you want to be racing are Cat 1s. You want to be a Cat 1?" And I was like,
"No way."
"Sure, Mr. Man that thinks I know anything about bike racing. I'll be a Cat 1." So
how'd that first race go?
Oh, I got my teeth kicked in, man. Are you kidding me? It was crazy.
How many laps down?
I think I was 2 laps down.
Well, that's not too bad.
No. It was really, 1 or 2 laps down, and then in short track I got blown out of the water. But yeah, no, it was more than anything, it was eye opening. I was like, oh wow, like this is the real deal. And I was
high school level.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't your mama's, weekend bike race.
Right.
Yeah, and then, I've been doing it for, I guess, going on 5 years now.
Crazy.
Which is,
yeah, it seems like a long time, and you're only 21.
Yeah.
Or 22 or 23,
21,
depending on who's counting.
The calendar says I'm 21. Let's keep it as young as possible.
Fair enough. Yep. So I, did my research, and your Instagram is fun.
Yeah.
Your post a day until I win a bike race.
Turns out when you put a lot of pressure.
How's that going?
Yeah.
What started that?
Turns out when you put a lot of pressure on yourself to have a fixed outcome at a race, it winds up being pretty crippling. We'll say that series is on hiatus right now. But that came out of a sort of a New Year's resolution, in a way, where I was like, I feel like I'm not doing enough. And in this age, I mean, I'm sure that you've had conversations with other athletes at, higher calibers than I, who have mentioned something similar, but like social media is king, man. Like it's really wild how important that presence is as an athlete nowadays, especially in the gravel world and that kind of thing, and outside of UCI racing. Like, really, to have a career, it seems like you both need to be a talented bike racer and an excellent, a presence on social media, or an excellent salesman or something like that. And so it was in an effort to work with what I had to provide something interesting and entertaining for a wider audience than I'd had previously. I wanted to give a look sort of behind the scenes and what it looks like to be someone that isn't there yet, but is really close and really wants to be there, and is trying to figure out what it takes to really get to that next level. And so at the time I was down in Tucson, Arizona. I've been working down there in the winters for the past 2 years so I can train and stay out of the snow. And yeah, I got up on January 1st, 2025 and went, you know what, we're going to document this. And that's sort of what it turned into. And in hindsight, I do really still like the premise. I do think that making it so goal-oriented wasn't maybe the most intelligent move on my part. Just like my mentality around cycling and around bike racing, I don't think really lined up with that. Like, I'm not someone that is goal motivated so much as like intrinsically driven. Like when it comes to my training, like I want to go out and I want to improve myself and I want to progress as an athlete, and racing is a really good device for that. Because it gives you really good markers of where you're at relative to other people, and so I really enjoy that aspect. But like, I think putting a label on like I'm doing this until I win. Well, some people go 10 years without winning a bike race, and then one day they do, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, this person out of nowhere," and it's like, man, it's not out of nowhere. They've been doing this for a really long time, and it's like everyone talks about a breakout year, right? That doesn't exist. A breakout year comes after years and years and years of dedication and making small steps, and every once in a while there's a step down, and then you got to take a couple steps back up, and then one day you just get that last step, and it's that last step that the person in second place didn't have. And it takes a long time. And so I think that, yeah, if I could have done it again, I think I would have done, like, you know, posting every day until, I don't know, something that is more, less about the end result and more about, like, the path to be there. And, like, honestly, maybe not even posting until anything, just, like, posting because I want to share this with people. Yeah, and then that gives you more reign to be able to include other things that really light your fire versus making the same post every single day. But it was really enjoyable when I was doing it. I just think that it's not really a sustainable thing if you have nothing bigger than yourself to speak for. And so that was one of the reasons I stopped it. It was like, it seems like I'm not someone that's very like, oh, look at me, you know? And so to sort of be doing this virtual peacocking felt very odd to me and felt very performative, and I don't think that existing as that person on the internet was actually helping my racing. It was cool to show up to races and be like, oh, yo, I know you from Instagram, and it was like, it's funny, right? But it's also like it's a tough thing to find the balance of. It's like, well, where does striving to be a pro racer end and striving to be a social media influencer begin? Yeah, and so yeah, took a break from that, but yeah, right now we're just focusing on racing, and there will definitely be a return. There's some plans in the works right now for maybe some more interesting visual pieces, shall we say? But we'll leave it at that.
I'm super curious. You're a young man. And I met you in Wisconsin. You live in Denver, and I saw you driving back. So I know it was just you. You cruised out. You did the race, and you cruised home. So you did not go to Chequamegon for the same reason I did. I go to Chequamegon because we see friends, we go up with friends, we love riding in the North Woods, we love the places we eat, the places we go, the things we do. We spend an evening on the boat. You did not have that experience, and I can't help but think, like, you're there for a reason, and you're spending money to do that, and I'm super curious how that works for a guy like you. Like, you're not Christopher Blevins, you're not getting your check written from Specialized Trek, Giant, whoever. You don't have a blank check, Red Bull. Like, how are you doing that? Are you hunting prize money? Do you have sponsors that write you a check for travel? Or are you self-funding this? Like, how's it work for a guy like you financially? If you don't mind talking about that.
No, absolutely. I'm more than happy to. First off, I'll say I think I actually am there for a lot of the same reasons that you are. I think there's a huge part of racing at the pointy end as well that is very much, it's just a reason to go see your friends and hang out in the woods. I can't speak to the boat part. We didn't have that one.
Fair enough. Well, you're invited next year.
Heck yeah, I'll take you up on that, man.
All right, cool.
But there's definitely an aspect of it that is it's so nice to see people that you only see a couple times a year, and the camaraderie that's there in the elite field is super super strong. But yeah, I would be lying if I say there wasn't other reasons that I was trying to be there. This is the thing that I am passionate about in my life, bike racing and whatever aspect of that I can find here in the States. And so it's my end goal to do this as a profession, and is using this time right now to figure out kind of learn the ropes of that scene, and get some results while I'm at it, and maybe some prize money if I'm lucky. I would say, as far as how it's all supported and how my program runs, I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of pretty rad equipment sponsors. So I'm wearing the hat right now. Rodeo Labs, if you're familiar, mm-hmm. They do a pretty sick product. They're an adventure bike manufacturer out of Denver area, and I've been fortunate enough to make some connections there. And I've been racing their gravel bike for the past year now, and it's been freaking awesome. Talk about being there for before it was cool. Their trail donkey. Their carbon gravel bike. You can fit a 29 by 2.35 mountain bike tire on that thing.
235?
235.
Wow.
I rode it for about a month with Schwalbe Ricks on it. Or Schwalbe Racing Rays, front and rear.
With drop bars? Did you race that this weekend?
With drop bars.
At Chequamegon?
I did not. I was on my mountain.
No, I saw more drop bar bikes this year in the first half of Chequamegon than I've seen in the past 25 years at Chequamegon.
Yeah, the drop bar hardtail is in.
Man, it sure is.
Dylan Johnson and Keegan Swenson have made it a thing.
Yeah, for sure. But so are 2.3 tires on gravel bikes. That's amazing.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no, just all the brands talking about, we're making a new bike and it can fit big tires. It's like, Rodeo Lab's been doing this for years, man. It's not a new idea.
Awesome.
But been very cool to be able to run some mountain bike tires on their frames. At the gravel events I'm at this year, and been really fortunate to work with Gulo Composites as well. They're originally a Michigan brand, so that's how I made the connection. They're currently in Brevard area, North Carolina, and they make a really sick, a couple really sick wheel sets. Their thing is their signature carbon spoke, and it's freaking light. I mean, my mountain bike wheels are 1,200 grams, so like they know their stuff, and they ride really, really well for being that light.
Yeah, carbon spokes.
I mean, they ride really, really well full stop.
Yeah,
but
period.
Like that they're that light.
Yeah.
is incredible.
Carbon spokes. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely not the engineer, but it's a sort of, think like a Chinese finger trap weave. But it's done in out of aramid carbon fiber. And it's wrapped, and then it's put into a titanium, spoke end on each side, and one side direct threads into the hub, and the other side goes out like DT Swiss, NV or DT Swiss style, like internal to the rim at the top. And the way that works is sort of, if you're familiar with the bird spokes, the shoelace looking ones. It's sort of a similar design theory to that, in the sense that under compression, that finger trap weave compresses and you get that suppleness, but then on the backside it's still pulling tight to keep the stiffness in the wheel. And what you get by using carbon instead of like the more shoelace style ones is you keep the lateral stiffness. So you put it into a corner, it doesn't flop as much. So having a stiff wheel that is still comfortable is achieved through that carbon spoke. Whereas before, right, if you were, cranking down on your spokes to get a stiff wheel, it wasn't going to feel good.
Right.
And if you were keeping it a little bit looser to be a compliant wheel, it wasn't going to corner good. Right. So it's kind of gives you the best of both worlds and like a staggering weight, like so light.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, been able to run their wheels, and then I've had some support from a local bike shop in Denver, Base Camp Cyclery, and they've got me on a Spark for the season for my mountain bike, and helping me get by. But it's really just product support, like and pretty minimal product support at that. Yeah. All of the financial stuff is it's a self-funded operation for sure.
So you work at you mentioned in Tucson a coffee bike shop, and in Denver you work somewhere.
Yes, in Denver I work at actually hit the commute up to Boulder from Denver 5 days a week.
Wow.
It's about 30 miles. Half the time I'm riding my bike, and the other half the time I'm driving my car. I guess more than half I'm riding my bike, but I commute up, and I work for a instant coffee company called Jot Coffee. So when you go to the grocery store and you buy a thing of cold brew,
yeah,
and it's like that big. So think that, but shrunken down to this tiny little bottle. Like it's the same. It makes the same amount of cups of coffee, but it's tiny. So it's like a tablespoon to like an entire glass of water or milk or whatever. Huh. And I work in product fulfillment. It's not a glamorous gig. It's I'm putting things in boxes, and I'm doing it for 40 hours a week. 38 hours a week. And intentionally passed up on the full-time position there to be able to have the flexibility in my schedule. So I was like, I don't I'll forego the benefits, but I'll work the hours, and that way when I need to leave and go race my bike, I can do that.
Yeah.
And so I was working up till Chequamegon, came home, packed my car, and drove out the next day. And then was back at work for the next week. So,
wow,
it's definitely it's not a glamorous life, but it's bike racing is what I love, and the more shots I get at it, the more chances that I can make something of it. So I'm gonna keep doing what I can to get to those bike races in any capacity, and if that means working a lot. That's what it is. And you were mentioning Tucson. I don't have the luxury of going and just taking a training camp somewhere. So it boils down to like this time of year right now. I mean, I'm fortunate to have a connection at a very good bike shop in town there that I've worked at for a couple of years now. But it's like, looking for a cheap place to rent for 6 months, and I'm gonna be down there for their on season, right? And I'm gonna be working. Generally work a little bit less in the base season because that's when I'm doing a ton of riding. But work as much as I can and still balance training. And then I'm down in this beautiful winter desert scape, and I can put in a couple big weeks down there and really get things sharp without having to deal with all the snow and stuff that you get up in Denver.
So you talked earlier about doing the XCO, the Olympic style mountain bike racing, which is very different than Chequamegon. It's you've got short track, which is 20 minutes explosive. We had Christopher Blevins on. I don't know if you saw that.
I listened to that podcast. Yeah. It was really good.
It was before he freaking hit the play button, wasn't it? Holy moly. He's won like 7 races this year.
That's a big play button.
That is a huge play button. He's owned it this year. But he's definitely been king of the short track this year. But XCO, 2 days after the short track, about an hour and a half race of going around doing laps.
90 minutes.
Is that your end game, or is your end game something like, there's guys making a living here in the States doing the gravel series, the mountain bike series, mountain bike stuff, Leadville, Chequamegon, Iceman, stuff like that. What's your end game? Where do you hope to go? Where do you hope to be?
And I think it's tough, right? Because everyone wants to say, "Oh yeah, I went to the Olympics."
For sure,
right? Like that's a cool.
Hey man, maybe gravel will be in the Olympics.
Right? Yeah. The freaking 2050 Olympics.
Right. You can race in the Masters division then.
Yeah, there we go. But man, I would say more broadly, My end goal is to be the best athlete I can be on a bicycle, and I want to do it in a way that inspires other people that maybe didn't come into the sport at the perfect time or with the perfect connections or with the best, most padded wallet and any walk of life, but like be able to show that if you really want it, that anything's possible. And I feel like it's maybe a little early to be thinking about a legacy in a sport, especially when I'm still working.
You're racing
towards being at the
U23,
pointy
man.
end. Right, but it's like I'm living it right now, and I know how hard it is, and I really just want to show people that you can do it, and I want to be that person for the next person like me. That's like, I mean, I've been so fortunate to have a couple of really key people in my life that have just been, been able to provide insight and answer questions that I had when no one else could when I was just figuring it myself. And like I want to be able to be that for other people. So at the end of the day, that's my goal.
Oh, that's super
But
cool. I love that.
Racing wise, I do think that XCO is definitely not out of the books for me. I love cross country racing, and I think that especially short track, I seem to be better at short track than I give myself credit for. But it's so fun and it's so all gas, and when you're on one, you're on one.
Yeah.
And so on the days when it feels really good, you're there, But on the days when you're not having the best day out, oh my god, it is gut wrenching. It is so hard.
Like 20 minutes is forever.
Yeah, no, you're off the back lap one. You're like, this is gonna either be a really short day or a really long day, and it depends on exactly how bad I'm doing today. Conversely, nationals last year, XCO nationals, I think I was top 20, maybe 21st. I can't remember exactly. But I was on a really good day, and that 90-minute XCO race felt like it was over like that, So I think it's when you're having a good day, you're having a good day in XC. But it can be really sink or swim, and your mindset is really, really important for that kind of stuff. But I think right now I'm kind of taking a step back from that, and I'm really enjoying some of the longer stuff, and I'm really enjoying the volume that comes with training for some of these gravel races and some of these, more marathon distance XC mountain bike races. At my core, I am definitely a mountain biker through and through. I would not call myself a gravel cyclist. I do enjoy riding gravel quite a bit, and I think actually I've been really enjoying racing gravel as well. But definitely mountain bikes in some capacity is gonna be where I'm trying to point myself. But if that means being in the Lifetime Grand Prix and being a mountain bike course specialist, I'm okay with that. Lifetime's doing a really cool thing right now, and I have a lot of friends that are there. I have a lot of community that's gone there from XCO racing, and my best friend pretty much ever just came in second at Chequamegon and is really looking at Lifetime Grand Prix stuff for the next season. And to be there, doing the first couple XC races of the season and realizing I didn't know anyone because they were all doing either people quit every year, people migrate to other forms of racing, people are racing in Europe all of a sudden, and it's just you don't. Suddenly everyone's gone. And you're like, I was at Wisconsin with one other friend, and I was like, we were both like, wow. It's just, as far as people we knew, it was just us.
Huh, interesting.
And I was like, dang, that's, and then to see friends racing Sea Otter and that kind of stuff at the same time, I was like, I'm getting FOMO, man.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Then just the constant, battle for the attention of the development programs in the U.S. as well for XCO mountain biking. There's pretty much one pathway. There used to be a couple. Right now, it seems like there's really only one or two groups that have real decent connections, and if you're not on those teams, you're struggling. And so I showed up to Wisconsin. I was ready to race. I gave it everything I had, and I finished that race going, wow, this is my favorite. This is supposed to be my favorite race ever, and I don't think I had fun at all because I was so busy stressing about like the outcome of that race or what that meant for who, like, what people were gonna care about me, and my story because of X result that I had, or X thing that I said, or X connection that I made at this race. I wasn't even racing. I was already done racing in my head. I was thinking about going and trying to talk to other people. And then I hadn't even begun racing because I was worrying about all the baggage that I brought into it. And then I was like, oh God, I gotta make a social media post. I gotta do X, Y, and Z. And then I was like, why am I spending more energy trying to, like, self-glaze than I am, like, actually being a bike racer and actually being who I am and genuine, like, to myself. And after that, I left Wisconsin and I was like, I'm taking an off season right now, and I'm not gonna race or think about racing until I figure out what I want to do that is gonna bring me some amount of joy and feel like I'm doing it for more than just myself. Firstly,
Mm-hmm.
and then also what is gonna bring me the most joy doing what I'm doing, like from a more training perspective. And so I started riding again, and this been talking about support. I've been really fortunate to work with KET Cycling, which has been amazing. They're a really awesome coaching, like holistic coaching business run by Justin Krieger. And I got on the phone with Justin after taking a couple weeks off, and I was like, hey, what if I just rode my bike a lot? And he was like, freaking do it. Is that going to bring you joy? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, go do it. And so my intro back into training was just massive volume. I think I did like 2 or 3 back-to-back 20-hour weeks, which for me is a lot.
Yeah, those are big weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, compared to some of these guys that have been doing it for 10 years and stacking the volume for 10 years, that's not much. But for a guy that's, never done outside of a 17-hour week except for, like, during base season, to be mid-season and just doing huge volume like that, just to get my legs back under me, was eye-opening, to say the least. But also by the end of that first block, I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I just want to ride my bike so much. And so we got to chatting and sort of like what the rest of my season wanted to look like. And I was like, well, what if I didn't go to Nationals this year? What if I, like, got some fitness going and then went and hit some of the Lifetime Grand Prix stuff? And there was no reason not to. And it got me excited. Like, I had legitimately felt excited about going to a bike race, I don't think, in the past year leading up to that, since, I mean, not quite year, but, like, since Iceman last year. The first couple of races I was just dreading this year.
Oh, well.
And so to have that shift and come in really fit, like maybe not as prepared for some of these races, but come in fitter than I'd ever been before, was really cool. And I was really able to, like, I mean, I had a really good race at Chequamegon. And that was without much preparation because we're prepping for some of the stuff later, and I'm just trying to accrue as much fitness as I can get. But yeah, just sort of came into it, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about these longer races. And then went to Chequamegon, and that was my first real race back. I did like a local gravel race here, did all right, took a wrong turn, and wound up just off the podium, but it happens. But yeah, going out to Chequamegon, there were definitely some nerves, and sort of found myself thinking a couple of times, like, oh God, is this a good idea? Like, oh man, am I just gonna get blown out of the water? And
We think that every year.
actually, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I think it's a universe. If you're not thinking that on the start line of a bike race, are you really racing a bike?
Well, that's not what we were thinking. But like, start line, we're excited. In fact, at the start line, I'm like, let's get this thing rolling. Like, I want to get this, I want to get out of Hayward.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's like when I'm crying going up the Perkey for 15 miles.
Yeah, a fire tower. Just...
Yeah. Hey, man, well, we can talk about Chequamegon later, but listen, You sound very mature. You sound wise beyond your years. Maybe that's the UCI thing. Maybe you really are 23 in UCI thing because you're
God, I
mature.
hope not. If I'm really
Um,
23, I missed out on some development there.
well, you've spoken very maturely, and I say that because, like, you don't get paid enough, and you work way too hard for it not to be enjoyable. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you go out to Wisconsin. Was it Englewood, the XCO
Hmm.
race out there,
Yeah.
and not
XCO
have
race,
fun? Like,
which is a fantastic race, I should say. Ben, yeah, the Agnews do a really good job with it.
but
But
you should be
yeah,
enjoying it because, I mean, you had to work to get there, right? Both
yeah,
financially and physically. Like you put a lot of effort into that, and you should enjoy it. It's kind of like, I don't know. I used to run marathons quite a bit, and everybody's kind of goal was to qualify for Boston and then go do Boston. And I've had friends
yeah.
go do Boston, and they do Boston in the same way that they do their Chicago or their Des Moines or their Cleveland or their whatever, Austin, in which they race it. Like it's all about the
Yeah.
clock and their time and this and that. And it's like just go to Boston and enjoy Boston. And when you do,
Yeah,
the
there's
weight is
definitely an
lifted,
element.
and then you can actually run free.
Yeah, there's definitely an element there that's like, oh, I've made it, you
Yeah.
know. But then it's funny too because I've never run a marathon in my life. I think it would be not dissimilar to like watching a Clydesdale horse try to run a marathon. I'm a horrible runner. But I like being at Chequamegon and being at these big races. I mean, lining up next to a world champs jersey is definitely talk about imposter syndrome
Yeah.
and trying to dispel some of that and racing more internally. I think, or maybe intrinsically, it is definitely harder than I think might be imagined. Like it's very easy to get there and be like, oh, I gotta go hard, don't I? You know, and I'm guilty of this myself. It's I'm still learning to be a bike racer. I'm still learning how to be a smart bike
Mm.
racer. I got on the start line, and I went, oh, I gotta make myself known. You know how you know what I went over the hill in? I went over the hill in third place.
Oh, dude,
I went from fourth row back straight to the front of the
I
race,
don't even know how you
like
did
in
that.
over the first climb.
Wow.
Well, it was a terrible idea, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
I don't know.
But it came from this: I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go.
I want
When
to
I should
describe that
have.
first hill you're talking about because we start back in Hayward, which is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles before that hill. And so we've got it's quote unquote neutral start as fast as you can ride on a
Hmm.
bicycle neutral. Um, but we roll down through town. You take a left, and the speed picks up, and you take a right onto the highway, and like you're motoring. I mean, it's like a fast road bike ride down this highway for 2 miles, maybe, and then you turn right,
Hmm.
and then
So you're straight. Wait, you're straight down the highway.
you were going straight down the highway.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
then you turn right onto a little, I don't know, farm road, and then turn left, and you're looking straight up this hill, and that's where you guys start. So we've had 4 miles of warm up before we hit that thing, and we stretched out the 2,500 people that start, which is good,
Yeah.
but it's still super crowded. Obviously, I don't know what 30, 40 guys start, 50 guys start in your race at
Hmm.
1
Yeah.
p.m. You start at the base of that hill, and just like the gun goes off, and you go straight up, and you're telling me like you just bulldozed through everybody and came over that hill in third?
It was definitely a series of things lining up in my favor. I mean, the first step is always getting in your pedal. There's plenty of people that didn't do that.
Fair enough.
I got in my pedal. I was lucky.
Yep.
I was in a good gear. And then there was a big bomb hole up the hill, and a couple people went left and a couple people went right, and one guy went too far right, left a little bit of a hole, and it was just Grand Canyon, straight up to the front of the
Oh
race.
wow.
Should I have followed that? No. In hindsight,
Well,
probably should have not burnt that match.
we
But I was like, "This is it. I'm going." And I was right. I mean, if you watch the Grand Prix video, you can see me rolling right up as I get towards the top of the hill.
That's awesome.
Uh,
I did watch that, and I forget who came over the top and first, but he started on the front line.
yeah, so that's yeah, that's Cam Jones. He's a monster. Uh, he was. I mean, you saw he was completely off the
He was
front,
off
like
the front on that
gone.
hill.
We came over the. It was funny. I remember having the thought because it's one of those. It's funny because like from the start line to the top of that, you're going, but you're not like completely boxed by the top because it's just so short,
Uh-huh.
and you're so fresh on the start line. Like you go over the top and you're working. Your heart rate's about to be really high, but it's still not quite
Yeah.
there. And I remember rolling over the top, being like, "Oh, I'm like the bee's knees right now." I'm like right there with the big
For
guns with
sure.
Keegan. This is so cool. And then I roll over, and Cam has like probably 100 yards on us, and I'm like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
I remember noticing that, being like, oh god, he's so fast.
Well, we go into like
We
15
yeah.
miles of this Berkey Trail, which is a 15-foot, 20-foot, 30-foot wide swath of grass through the woods. There's like one good line. When we went on at 10 a.m., it was super greasy because it had rained the night before. I would guess 2,000 people probably gave you hero dirt. Um,
It wasn't too bad. I think it definitely tacked up a little bit. There were a couple spots where the grass had been matted down. It was a low point, like on the Berkey itself, that were slick.
yeah,
But it wasn't too
yeah.
bad.
So how did it play out over the next 15? I mean, it's literally 15 miles of Berkey Trail after your whole
Yeah.
shot effort. What happened? How did it play out for you after that first climb?
Um. Yeah. I mean,
Did you
so
put the
I
kickstand
was
down and
in.
just let everyone go and say, "I'll meet you back in
Yeah.
Hayward
Yeah.
for
Sit
dinner"?
down on the grass, pick a daisy, and have a nice day.
My day's done.
My
Got the
work here's
whole.
done.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the whole shot, but
Well,
I
close.
definitely made my way out there. Uh, so yeah, afterwards, after the initial climb, that group strings out pretty quick, and then it immediately just swarms back together because it goes over that top, and then it's a descending roller
Yep.
for the next little bit there, and you're pushing it because you gotta go over those, you gotta go up,
Yep.
but it's like 30 miles an hour. You're going fast, and there's a lot of group dynamics going on. There's a lot of people that are really willing to send a flyer and just put themselves right in front of your front tire at the least optimal moment. So it's this like balance of pedaling as hard as you can, but also conserving because you know you're gonna need it later. Um, and watching, who's gonna slide up into a corner and then not quite know how hot that
Mm-hmm.
corner is, or who's gonna bump your handlebars coming around. I mean, that front pack is 40 people at the beginning of it all, and it's going quick until pretty much after that bridge. That's really where it starts to pinch down.
Huh.
And I was fortunate to be pretty much up there, um, coming into some stuff, or coming into that bridge. I was probably sitting about top 25 ish. Was pedaling hard, but I was feeling good, and then I pretty quickly started having some technological issues,
No,
unfortunately.
bummer.
Yeah, my rear brake, I actually think a seal went bad in the piston.
Oh,
I had been having some issues with the brake returning before, and I thought it was because I put new pads in. I had new pads installed before I left, and it wasn't seeming to be an issue. And then, pretty quickly during the race, I realized that every single time I put power down, I'd hear a rub,
oh,
and that my brake felt really, really tight. And yeah, by the end of the race, my rear brake was rubbing pretty much every time I went above 300 watts, which is frankly quite often in that race. So there was definitely doing a lot of extra work there, and learned after the fact that I also had a front hub bearing blowout during the race, and so I think I was pretty quickly doing a lot more work than I thought I was doing.
mm-hmm.
And so at some point in the first half hour of the race, the wheels came off kind of hard. And I found myself in a position where there was a gap that opened, and it was two guys, and this was the front group two guys, Payson McElvin and me, and those two dudes let a gap open over coming into a roller.
Mm-hmm.
And Payson, who has a lot more race experience than I do, read that really well and kicked right and carried his speed up and over, and I kind of ran into the back of them and tried to go left, but there was nowhere to go. And so Payson coasts over the top and catches onto the back group as they accelerate, and I got snuffed, and that was when I lost the front group.
Oh.
And after that, I was pretty much, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be my day to just pin it. At the time, I wasn't aware that my bike was acting up, and so I was like, it's just going to be a big day out. And there was a group that formed with those couple of guys and a couple of the people that had caught on fairly quickly, but no one was really super interested in going to do any work. And so onto that first dirt road sector, I put in a dig and got away, and was like, all right, had a little bit of road bike bar tape on the insides of my flat bars, and I was like, we're gonna be spending a lot of time here today.
Boy.
Yeah, just put the hammer down, drop my head, and was solo up over the top of Fire Tower, which was actually really nice because it allowed me to be consistently faster instead of punchy and like just hanging.
You never had to hit your brakes.
To make it
you don't have to hit your
no,
brakes
exactly.
when you go into the back of somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. I didn't have to worry about line choices. I could just stay in the saddle and do my thing, which was good, and I made pretty good time up that. And it was about that time that another U23 racer, Cash Steele, bridged from that group up to me and caught me on that descent. I had been taking a second to grab a shell, and he used that opportunity to bridge up. And we worked together for after Fire Tower on that descent down. After
Can
Fire
I ask
Tower,
you a question about
Cash.
Fire Tower, because Fire Tower is a big deal
absolutely.
to the rest of us? Did you clean
Absolutely.
it? Does everybody clean it? Is it even a question?
No,
it's not even a question.
You got it. No, so actually, it's the opposite of worrying if you're gonna make it up. It's a fight to be at the front.
That is the opposite.
So,
like in our world, it's like, can we get up it clean?
Yeah, so there's a couple of places in the course that really matter. Fire Tower is like the pinnacle spot to make a move. Everyone, you come into it, you're on that dirt road, and everyone starts looking around. They're like, who's gonna do it? And then generally the people that are gonna be, you're maybe not so climb oriented are gonna attack on that dirt ahead to try to get a gap in. People will follow that, and then it is just a Hail Mary all the way to the top.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt Beers, if you're familiar with that guy, he's the 180-pound climber or something like that. But he's if you go look at his power file over that, or any of the KOMs going up over that, it's lethal numbers. They're going so hard. And so that's what I was saying, it was actually sort of a blessing where I didn't have to worry about that. I knew I had a gap, and I went hard. I'm not saying I soft pedaled it, but there's not that factor of, and I need to also position.
Right.
I can just put my head down, and I know when I get to the top I'm there.
Anybody listening is gonna laugh because we're not in the same world, but we did do the same course for parts of it.
And isn't that the cool thing about U.S. bike racing?
Yes, that is super cool.
I cannot think of any other kind of racing, and that's one of the reasons that the Lifetime stuff is so rad.
Yeah.
Where else is that an experience that's common? Where else can you finish in Unbound? I didn't do Unbound this year. Where else can you finish Unbound? And then go and talk to some dude who was out there for 14 hours.
Right.
And is just as stoked as you are.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Exactly.
You can't do that at a World Cup.
100%. You're absolutely right. You and 2,000 other people.
Sorry, tangent.
My wife and I do it on tandem, and our first year was 2002 when you were a glimmer in your parents' eyes, and maybe, and I think we disagree with this. She thinks we've done it 4 or 5 times. I think we've done it. I think this is our 3rd time that we've cleaned Fire Tower. And we cleaned it this year, which is awesome. But, there's 4 sections, so you go up, and then there's a little flat spot, even a little downhill, and then you go up again, and then you go up again, and up again. And each
It's the
time,
gift that keeps on giving.
it is, right. Each time I would like let the people we're in a group with get ahead of us. Like I would literally like slow coast so a gap would open in front of us so we would have a clean line, which is exactly what you're talking about. Like you had that clean line
Yeah, I didn't have to worry about
without,
anything.
yeah,
You know,
which makes a huge
I had
difference.
the opportunity to not ride through that freaking horrible mud puddle that was 3/4 of the way up. You know, I was like, oh, I don't have to do that. Lovely.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right, for
so
sure,
that was
for
really
sure.
cool.
But we
Um,
intentionally, each little section had to create our clean line just like you had. So it's, I don't know, I think that's fun.
yeah,
I think that's fun. And
yeah. No,
to be
there's a
honest,
certain
I
beauty
really
in
just
that.
wanted to talk about D&I cleaning Fire Tower.
Yeah, it's. I can't imagine trying to get a tandem up that. That sounds like
It's fun. It's fun. We get along great on it.
sounds like a great way to start an argument.
We're still married.
But
We're still married. 37
maybe
years.
that's the secret, man.
Yeah.
If you can survive Chequamegon 40, you heard it here first, guys. Chequamegon 40 on a mountain bike saves marriages.
Or destroys them.
on
It's
a
not a
tandem,
secret.
on a
On a
tandem mountain
tandem,
bike.
yes. The tandem,
Uh,
there was a tandem that finished, I don't know, 45 minutes behind us. Some dude rides up to us. The Perkey is our nemesis. We hate the Perkey. And we go slow on the Perkey. It's just to get through it. And some dude rides by. He's like, tandem, sweet. I think it's his sister. My sister and her husband are doing tandem. They're back there. And it's their first year of the marriage. They're seeing if they can live through it. And the name of their team, their tandem team, is Will Our Marriage Survive on a Tandem or something like that. So
oh,
it's
that's
not a
awesome.
secret that a tandem will get your marriage where it's going fast, either up or down.
Yeah, that's one way to do
Yeah,
it.
for sure. But
Or undulating in the case
it
of
could be undulating
Schwab.
for sure. For sure. So Cash caught ya, and
Yeah, Cash caught me on the way down, and
well, then you
we went
dive right
together.
into another section of Berkey. Did you guys hang together through that?
Yeah, yeah, it was full gas pretty much from there to the end. Cash had a real good legs on
Yeah.
him for the second half of that race, and I was holding on for dear life. That is for sure. Uh, and it was super fun to rip with him. We're just going as hard as we can. I tried to do as much work as I could. I was pretty cooked.
I'm super
He was
curious. Like,
he was really strong.
you did it in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Took my wife and I 3 hours and 54 minutes. And we didn't stop and have a picnic. Like, we didn't lollygag. Like, we look at that and it's like, where could we have come up with time? Like, we could do the Berkey better, and there's a freaking ton of Berkey. But it's, how do you go so fast? Like, I'm actually curious. And this is coming from a guy, I've raced bikes for 40 years, so I've gone fast. Most of it's road, but it's like, I can't even imagine putting together a 2 hour and 10-minute 40-mile bike race. So you're going almost 20 miles an hour on mountain bikes on rough, up and down, grass, fire tower, rocks. How? Like, where's that come from?
Yeah. So I mean, I think a lot of it is just knowing how to carry momentum.
Mm.
Frankly, I mean, you can factor in a whole bunch of things that the elite field is worrying about that most people aren't worrying about, right? Like at the level where you're going, those kind of speeds, all the little things that you can do make a lot more of a difference. So like running a faster tire versus a slower tire, right? Like I can make this in like in road racing terms. If you knew that you were on a course where the average speed was going to be really, really high, and you were like, well, I can either run a really supple tire that's going to roll really fast, and then run like, I don't know, I use are probably pre-tubeless for that, but like, and then I could run a latex tube so it really, like, there's just zero friction and everything's super, super fast. Or I could run a solid tire, right? Like, you know, maybe it's not that big of a difference, but like the difference in mid-level like trail tires for mountain bikes and then higher TPI mountain bike XC race tires is huge. Like, I mean, we're seeing it in the gravel world. I don't know how closely you follow all the gravel tech, but mountain bike tires are in.
Yeah, they are.
They're faster than gravel
Right,
tires.
right. Like,
Who'da thunk?
yeah, super fast, light, supple mountain bike tires are crushing it on
Right.
gravel.
So that's also going to be a big thing in races like Chequamegon. There's not a huge puncture risk at all. It's very you know, relatively consistent. Like, you know what, you're either going to be on grass, or you're going to be on a dirt road,
Yep.
or you're going to be on a trail for 30 seconds. So because we know there's not a lot of unknown, there's not a lot of risk. I mean, I was running, if you're familiar with the Vittoria Peyote, it's a 2.25, and they do 2.25 and 2.4. I ran the 2.25s in their race casing, and I ran them at like 18 and 20 psi.
Oh, wow.
Right, so it's all about conserving that forward momentum. It's the same reason a lot of people are running full suspension mountain bikes, and the same reason that a lot of people are running drop bars. So you pair all those things together, and all of a sudden you've got a drop bar full suspension mountain bike with really fast tires. So you're more aerodynamic because your frontal area is smaller, and then you're more planted. You're not getting bounced around as much. You can more efficiently put power down, and then you have really fast tires, and all the pressures and things are right, and all of that, all those little things add up. You wax your chain to make it a little stiffer. That adds up too. And so there's a bunch of little things you can do to make yourself go just a little bit faster, and enough marginal gains kind of become a maximal gain. But also it's funny because you can talk about that all the time, and like the drop bar mountain bike has been the story of 2025.
Yep.
But does that really matter if you don't know how to race the race?
Right.
I mean, the guy, you know, Alexei Vermeulen won it on a freaking hardtail with flat bars and like aero road wheels laced to a mountain bike hub. What kind of crazy bike is that? It's sick. It's cool.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not the bike that Keegan Swenson was on. Right? And so I think, and especially in races like this, and especially in a lot of races in the Midwest, that like if you don't know how to ride and race in the Midwest, you are not going to be able to keep up. And you know, a lot of that comes into thinking about where you're carrying your speed. You're certainly not braking on any of those descents on the Perkey. You know, if anything, I mean, this might be a huge spoiler, but the big trick is you pedal down and in. That way you're not stabbing on the pedals every time you go up. You carry that speed in and through, and you hit that huge G out in that compression, and it just rockets you straight back up. And you're still pedaling hard over the top, but you're not slamming pedals from the bottom. That right there is a couple miles an hour. And you just do that over and over and over again, and they all add up.
Maybe I need to rethink my Perkey strategy, because it's different than what you're describing. And maybe it's different. I would potentially
not do it on a tandem.
I was going to say, there's a difference when you're 60 years old and on a tandem. The other piece is, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember how far. It was a slick day. It had rained in the morning, and I let go of the brakes going down one of these hills, and the bike just went zing out from under me. And I sliced open my leg, and I screwed up my shoulder, and we had to get evac'd out of there. So I know that's in the back of my head, bombing down these hills, especially, we got rain the night before. And so it was wet, and it was a little slick, but I was scared. I did not bomb down the hills as fast as I could bomb down the hills. But you're 100% right.
Yeah.
If I had, you carry that momentum further up the next hill, and that just over and over and over again, that increases your overall speed for sure. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all the little things, and it's all the little know-hows, and I can't claim to know it as well, because obviously if I did, I would have won, right? But and then there's also a degree of fitness there, right?
Right.
I mean, these guys who are at the front are really, really on one. Yeah, they've got years on me. I mean, Kyan doesn't have that many years on me, but racing and progressing in sport, it's one of the things I have to remind myself. I finished that race, and I was really mad. I was like, damn it, I came all this way. And what, for a 40th? Whatever, right? I was not happy. But pretty quickly, and I think riding some of the trails around there helped, because I rode home from the race.
Oh, wow.
I just took single track on the way back. It was sick. Dude. Totally made my day. But all things considered, where I am fitness-wise, that's really good.
Yeah, that's great.
And I need to not be so hard on myself and not compare myself to Keegan Swenson, because that's a terrible idea. Like, or Alexei Vermeulen, or really any of them. Like, don't compare yourself to anyone. Comparison is, whatever. They say comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is also the thief of, like, learning anything from a race. If you finish a race and you're like, oh, well, I sucked because I didn't win, or I sucked because I didn't do whatever person did, you're never going to do any better. You're just going to keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And so it was actually one of the things that I spent a lot of time thinking about on my ride home was just like, man, what could I change? And I think my tactics could have been improved a lot. And I think obviously everyone can be fitter, but that's just a given. You're just going to continue progressing as long as you keep training and you're training right. And so, you know, it just in my brain of like, okay, well, what can I learn from this year? Whose tapes can I watch? What can I, you know, what are people doing that I'm not doing? And then I can bring that to the later race of the season, or I can bring that to Chequamegon next year.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna have fun following your Instagram and your post every day to enjoy life.
Yeah, we'll have to see what that's gonna be. I've become a lot more interested in like sort of environmental stewardship recently.
Oh, nice.
And I'm thinking if it does make a return, it'll be something around that, like working with some sort of something to raise some awareness through my Instagram. So if you know anybody, feel free to let me know. But
for sure. Well, you know, Blevins was on because of he's a Protect Our Winners ambassador, so maybe that's open for you.
Yeah, I do remember him saying that. POW is a really cool organization.
It is a cool organization. Yeah, the outdoor state. And we're all members.
Yeah, and
of
they have a lot of multifaceted stuff as well. You know, they're not just like just one thing or just a figurehead. Like they're actually doing the work, which is sick.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I love it. But again, I'm going to follow you. You're on your rodeo bike.
Yeah, man, Rodeo Labs. Go check them out. They're out of Denver, Colorado. They make a pretty sick bike.
And
or I'll be on a Scott Spark RC.
Gulo. How do you say that? Gulo.
Gulo, yeah.
Gulo
so
Composites. I'm curious about that. I kind of want to talk to them about those spokes, and I think that's super interesting. And
yeah, they're a super cool product. Definitely, I actually am a huge fan of their gravel wheel. That's my favorite one. It's the GGA 44. So you'll appreciate this. You're from the days of box section training wheels on your road bike,
100%.
23 mil tires and that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So current gravel tire setup is a 2.25 peyote on a road bike wheel, which is a 30 mil internal rim width.
Really, road bike?
So that's mountain bike.
That is mountain bike.
My gravel wheels are 30 mil internal.
Wow.
40 mil external, 44 mil deep. So the rim is like this big.
Wow.
And the whole thing weighs like 1,300 grams.
Oh,
so
that's crazy.
Come a long way from 23 mil tires. But,
yeah, for sure. 23.
I can
Dude,
fit two-year-old tires. Fit two-year-old race tires on my gravel tire.
I came from 18 millimeter bald 140 psi rocks. Like,
no.
Oh my gosh, they were so. I don't know how we rode them, but that's what we rode because they were.
I could never.
They were fast.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So different.
It feels so fast different. When I can't feel my hands.
Yeah, right. Exactly. When I'm bouncing all over the place. Well, Cullen, good luck. I know you're doing Big Sugar, Little Sugar, and
yep, I'll be down there.
Something else. You have 3 more.
Iceman. So that's the big race. Hey, yeah. anyone from the Midwest knows.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
That's the season closer right there. So I'll be there at the expo. Hopefully, I'll be at Gulo. Usually has a tent at the
nice.
Iceman Expo, so you can find me there most likely.
Awesome, sweet. Well, best of luck the rest of the season, and best of luck next year. Really appreciate you taking time to come on and not being scared and running away from the creepy old man at the convenience store in Spooner, Wisconsin.
Not creepy at all. You're super nice. Well, yeah, thank you, Dave. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I've had a really good time chatting with you. So, yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, hey, Cullen, thanks for not getting too creeped out by this old guy at the convenience store in Spooner, Wisconsin. I'm glad we met, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the pod. Now, for all of you listening, you had better jump on his Instagram to check out his daily posts, or however often he's inspired to share something fun with us. Just search for Cullen Perkey. Of course, I'll put a link in the show notes. Now, before I go, I want to invite you again to the late September weekend of cyclocross in Des Moines, sponsored and hosted by the BikeIowa.com racing team. It's on September 27th and 28th at George Davis Park, where Scott Sumter, Jason Schooley, and the rest of the gang at the Bike Iowa racing team carve out a really fun, challenging, and scenic course through the hills, trees, and prairies of this northeast Des Moines park. If you know the park at all, it's the George Davis Softball Park, and you would be super surprised at how awesome this course is at a softball park. It's not what you imagine. So come on and check it out this weekend. You can find all the information you need and sign up at BikeIowa.com. And one more thing. I'm guessing that you noticed some ads on the pod. As my son asked when he heard them, you going corporate now? Well, no, but the server I use to manage all these episodes is, I use RSS to distribute this pod, and it sends it all over to places like Apple Pods, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, it is distributed through the RSS feed. Now, these ads, I'm sure it's a revenue stream for them, but it might, also be for me. It's brand new. And I know on YouTube you have to have like 1 billion views or something to make 23 cents. So I will be curiously watching to see how this thing goes. Hope you're all okay with it. It's not like I have a ton of say in it anyway, so we'll see. So I just thought you should know what's going on and where these ads came from. And we'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, so maybe I'll see you this weekend at Capital City Cross. But regardless, I hope you have a great week. And remember that nothing compares to the simple pleasure of riding a bicycle.